This is Space 16, Part 2.
Yeah.
And we're exploring higher consciousness and the universe of consciousness. This is rubbish. Where were we?
At the apple cake. So where we ended up? Yeah, at the events consciousness.
It was about
how is the human consciousness going to evolve in the future?
Okay, I'm going to.
What way is
I want
it
to
evolving?
bring in something which I feel is very in need of exploring. That is, if there is a nefarious intent. Let's rephrase that. Basis 16, Part 2. This is the dark side I want to just really nail on the head, hit the nail on the head. If human consciousness, or if an enemy of humanity accessed our consciousness so that we would then effectively delete ourselves or destroy ourselves using our own consciousness while they sat back and did nothing. I'm suggesting that possibly these black shadow entities that are occurring in a lot of cases, and therefore the jinn, were the jinn here, according to legend, from the way I understand it, the jinn were here before humanity came. Can you explain about the jinn, about who was here before we were?
You see.
And about whether that's a threat. That's about 5 questions.
No, it's it's okay. See, the jinn. Now, we came to the point yesterday when with Dr. Sala. Now, the jinn is just a name for this kind of entities, lower entities, spirits. Different cultures use different terms for beings, so say extra-dimensional beings that are present. We know they are present on Earth, so yet we cannot see them. And from what we know, people's experiences or whatever is the inherent knowledge, is there are higher entities, like more advanced entities, who are more compassionate than humans, who are more advanced than humans, and who are helpful and this and that. They are long-lived, and they watch over mankind. And then there is a spectre range of entities who are, say, like the lower spirits, who are somehow mischievous. They are not always bad, but they can be both good and bad, depending on their nature. No, so some theories say, like esoteric theories say, that these are disembodied people, like spirits of our ancestors. Then when some of the ancestors they died, passed away in unhappy state, they were not good people in life, or they were really, they were jealous, and they were angry, and they envied everybody, and this and that. You have plenty of such people living among us, and not all even express their nature openly. Then a few people turn to criminals and shoot each other and this and that. Also, you have people dying in wars who, by the nature of how they lived and how they died, in fear, in panic, in anger, in despair. It has to be.
I mean, some people have suggested that's one reason we have wars, so that we create entities who are, ready for manipulation via other dark forces. The whole point is to kill thousands of or millions of people and use them as a source.
I don't think, I think that people, because they don't know the true answer to the questions, The same like in science, sometimes they go to the extremes. You know, they go over the edge of the logic. They turn things around. Possibly it's like that. You know, wars are happening because of someone else. No, we are not responsible for that. It's someone else responsible for our wars. Yeah, right. So this is how we search for the cause, for the source of things.
In other words, we offload our own responsibilities.
I'm not trying to be critical. To be critical. I'm simply trying to explain that the truth is, say, on both sides, and it's. I hope I'll get to it. But both is true. The truth is out there. Means there are other dimensions. There is life out of the spectrum of our senses and the limited human understanding. Sometimes we are interacting with the life in the other in the broader expanse of reality. And this is where other beings may come from, where they may be inhabited these other dimensions. And then it's also important to discern whether these beings are simply, as you say, a ghost, a shadows of a past. That's one thing that is being very poorly understood. That they are not actually real beings. Many of them, they are actually like a shadow beings, like a ghost.
Yes.
Why?
Or negative dimensional entity.
No, wait. Just understand the cause, how these beings, come to an existence. There are two possibilities. One possibility is that they are real biological entities. Biological entities do not just emerge out of thin air. They either they come from somewhere in space. They might have landed here a long time ago. They still survive here. I'm sure there are more than one type of such survivors on the Earth. And not all are, they are not visibly human, but they can become attached. They can get attached to human form for some reason. The same way we need to make friends with someone. If you are alone on a planet,
yeah,
you need a friend. Even if the species you interact there with, you encounter there is very different, you still try to make a friend.
Is this what some people would call a spirit guide, or I mean, the name for a jinn that does that is a succubus?
These are very, these as in esoterics are very different concept terms. Yeah. This what you heard, this succubus, incubus.
Yeah.
These are like in Buddhism, Hindu culture, they say hungry ghosts.
What?
Hungry ghost.
Yeah.
It's just one of terms, because you have hundreds of different cultures on Earth.
Yeah.
And they give very different names to these things. But what am I trying to explain is that like this, if you have a simple entities, you think you have houses haunted by ghosts, or people experience some kind of disturbance to their mind or in their house. Then in say 90% probability is that they are actually haunted by their own ancestors. People who lived in the house, not necessarily their own family ancestors, but people who lived in that house before, or who are attached to them or that place or that area, or for some reason, they are, and the relationship is based on attachment, fear, hunger, because these entities they are really just like shadows. they do not have an independent life. They are just like an imprint.
Yeah.
Because once there was a human being living life, and that biologically that life expired, but is still the consciousness did not expire.
Yeah, so the consciousness is still in existence. It's sort of an imprint. It may be real, it may be also unreal, but it displays some kind of life of its own. If you do, that's why the shamanic rituals, the magic rituals work, because most of these entities are in nature. They are illusion. It's very difficult to understand for say average person experience. Is this what some people call elementals? Elemental beings?
Also many, all kinds of them. Yeah, you have hundreds of categories of these beings. Most of them are illusionary in nature. They are not real. They may be not real in a sense of biological entity. As a biological entity communicating with you is completely different character. Displays different intelligence. These beings, how they look, they are not even beings. That's why they give them these low names, because they are not they are not real. They simply appear to have a life, and they feed on your thoughts. They feed on your emotions. They appear to feed on your life, because they use whatever intelligence you acquired anywhere, somewhere outside. So these are some kind of say it's like more psychological phenomenon, and are not biological entities. And then there are real extra-dimensional biological entities. It's a different category. And this actually, even for psychics, for shamans, for these people, sometimes it's very difficult to discern. Sometimes it's even impossible to say.
And then there's the concept of magic, where people would actually get, send bad things to another person for various reasons.
Right. Well, see, mind has lots of power. Some people are not physically evolved, but are mentally evolved in one direction or another. Some are evolved in arts, and some in science, and some have a special power. They are actually able to influence events, or they are able to influence other people. It's an ability that can be trained, right? That's why the magical schools exist, and all this kind of training. But it's, I think, it's like playing with a fire.
Yeah.
I like.
So I'm not wishing to sort of concentrate much longer on the negative side of things, but how does one defend against such things?
By prayers, compassion, keeping your house clean, your body clean. Really, even.
I mean, when you say keeping your house clean, you're talking about just simple household cleanliness, or are you talking about mechanisms like crystals and things to take away bad energies?
It's a whole lots of complicated system. It's not see, you can keep clean and live in the dust somewhere, right? But don't keep dirty things in your mind. Don't keep bad emotions in your mind. If you keep bad emotions in your mind, they will hurt you. They will hurt other people. and you will, I mean the person, right, will feel dirty and unwell, and will have lots of difficulties and pass them over to other people. But if you ask if you want an example, I have a story. It's a small story from my own life and experience about an entity.
Tell us about that.
Interesting entity. So one day at night, I just woke up and I wanted to walk from my bed to parents' bed, sleep there. And I was just, of course, I was small, so the room appeared big to me, and I was never afraid of darkness as a kid or anything of that sort. I just, I was not afraid. But then I saw, in the middle of the night, behind this door, I saw a figure that looked so strange. It had a, it was like a, how do you call that, wolfman?
A wolfman? Yeah. Lots of hair, black?
No, simply he had a human body and a wolf's head.
A werewolf?
Ah, right, that one. And the figure was standing behind the door. It looked so strange, so colorful, and it did not move. It did not move even the face. It did not move the features. It just, I was sure it's going to eat me or something. So I sat on the floor as I was walking there and closed my eyes, because I was convinced I closed my eyes that after I open them it will disappear, it will be gone. So sure, I sat there for some time, and then when I opened my eyes, it was gone, and I was still, I was little kid, so I was afraid, and I went to parents' bed and slept fine. But since that time, I was like subconsciously, I would not tell anyone, but I was afraid of these werewolves. So whenever it came in the movies or in the books or somewhere, that I have the fear like, some kind of, subconscious fear, bad entities, or vampires and werewolves. Could eat me or something like that. Then one day I came to Dharamsala. In the first time I came to Dharamsala, which is the place of the Tibetan community where Namgyal Monastery, His Holiness Dalai Lama lives, and small Tibetan village. I got a pouch. I bought a small pouch. It's one of these like my silk pouches. Yes. Tibetan pouches with a mandala embroidery on the top. It was a black pouch, kind of like this. Yes. And I had it in my room. So what they say, if you, this kind of, the black things, they extract whatever is in you, like your memories or something. If you want to extract your memories, they will, they suck out the poison or something of that meaning. So
it's a healing type of thing?
Well, if you would like to classify things to groups, everything can be healing. Yeah. But they especially understand the colors and shapes in association with elements, and it goes alongside Chinese medicine, Tibetan, Indian, and the traditional medicines. They work also with colors and shapes and all that. So anyway, I had then after all those maybe 20 years or something, I had a dream. In that dream, I was hunted by that werewolf. How many years was that? Maybe 16 years later. And it was very strange, because each time I got asleep, and then I woke up and got asleep, the dream would continue, and he went after me, and he was just it was like coming close. So I was almost sure that at the end of the dream he will eat me. get me, because it was, I don't remember it well now, but it was kind of like a terrific figure, and yeah, who had big power and could destroy you completely, or something of that sort. And as it was getting close to morning, and I was almost, sure I'll be eaten, I did not want to be. So I sat on a bed or I don't know what, and closed my eyes. And suddenly a thought occurred to me, just use compassion. Because I knew I had already some teachings from some of my lamas and masters and this and that. So actually, instead of trying to fight the figure or run away, just thought, no, just face it and feel for the being, whoever it is, whatever it is. Maybe it's real, unreal, goes after you, doesn't matter. Just send it love, send it feeling. So I try to just send the feeling. So at the end of the dream, this kind of werewolf or being was in front of me, and it started to change faces. Changed faces to many kinds of faces of people I met in my life. Finally, it had my own face. So it was like looking into the mirror, and it was gone. So I'm sure that I cannot say who or what it was, but it was like in a spiritual sense, it was like a facing of own ego.
Your own thoughts had created this.
Your own identity, or maybe not my own, so that I don't know if a 4-year-old creates a vision of a werewolf. I have no idea. But simply these are some impressions. They may come not from your mind, but even from your parents' mind, right? And from other people's mind. So sometimes we are convinced that we are creating something. It's someone else who is, close to us, who is creating images, and if we are sensitive, we think it's ourselves. So whatever it is, for most cases, it's an illusion, and it can be diverted and destroyed by your own mind. But you have to face the phenomenon, the being, better than run away from it. You have to face it and just show it your power, your good power, your kindness, your loving empathy. Because whatever, no matter who the being is, it had its fate. And no one in the universe is born inherently evil. Beings become evil because they are hurt, because something hurt them. They become damaged.
So by being hostile to it and giving it anger would make it stronger.
Yeah, basically it's similar like with human beings. If you provoke the other by showing it, your reaction, boils the temper. He or she, whatever it is, has all the reason, to fight. Because if it's hurt, if it's unhappy, it feeds on the bad emotions. So it's not really wise, right? It's empathy. Try to understand, empathize, feel, say not well, but feel good about the other, and even if he appears dangerous, understand that he is a form of life, form of intelligence. Something might happen to him. Now, at the same time, he gives you an occasion to evolve, right? It gives you an occasion to prove yourself and him what is in you. So there's no reason to fear, actually, these entities. We have much more difficulties in life with other humans than with such beings. It's true. because human intelligence and biology and all that is very complicated, and it's concerning us immediately. So what we are facing in this world are human problems. Sure, you have you can, most people are not even advanced enough to communicate or to interact successfully with the extra-dimensional beings on intelligent levels. Like you have messengers or all these channelers or psychics, people who try to get some information from the other side, and many times the information is somehow, it depends on them. It's big way it's created in their own brain or something of that sort, or the brain serves like a computer, like a translator of the information. So it depends on their own brain, how much is it evolved. So we could say the same about science if they would get intelligent signal from space or from another intelligent beings, and they would be trying to decipher it. So what kind of message they get depends on how advanced are those scientists and how advanced are their computers. In next century, there'll be next generation.
It's governed by the tools of what they use and their knowledge.
Completely. Yeah. So if it depends on the ruler, on the measure, on the measuring instrument you have. So what kind of precision we are able to capture? The same way human intelligence works. Now each of us try ourselves. So how many numbers we are able to remember, what kind of puzzles we are able to sort. Now imagine a very advanced form of intelligence sitting in front of us. So how much am I able to understand from the other? Only that much, my brain can switch on. Maybe can be...
So we would miss most of the message, in other words.
Well, we would have a hard time deciphering it. Yeah. That's important to face that we have to. It's not a pessimistic, it's not a pessimism, negativism from my side. James is just trying to convey the message to people. If they think they are channeling aliens or they try to understand extraterrestrials, be careful with that. It's absolutely, it's very difficult. It's difficult for scientists. Then if it's difficult for people who have really high intelligence and who have all the equipments, then how difficult it is for an average person who had seen something. Then they don't know what to think about it. Who is it? What is it? How does it function? Most people are afraid. They think, oh, it's going to harm me. Looks different, thinks different, probably wants to harm me. I think again it's a huge misconception. But maybe even on the scientific side, like I've heard, or I'm sure you have heard, it's a famous physicist Stephen Hawking. Mm-hmm. So in one of his presentations, he has also tried to warn the scientific community and people from hoping in that intelligent life somewhere will be helpful to us, or that we will be able to make friends and this and that, and he just tried to express the idea that it might be so different from us as humans, or it might be so simply that being advanced does not automatically mean being more spiritual, and that we should rather protect ourselves from contact with ET life. I do not support this opinion, but it reflects a fear on a part of an individual facing a huge unknown, facing his own limitations.
reason?
Kala chakra is the wheel of time. Or more precisely, Kala chakra is say like it's a science, both exo and esoterical science about the quality of time, nature of understanding of time and space. Both, you cannot have time without space, right? And the evolution of a human being. So spiritual evolution and also like a historical evolution and whatever you can include. It's really the teaching as such has scriptures attached to it that cover very many topics. So it's like a science in itself, but that is not what people usually learn or practice. There is a Kala chakra practice, which is a special meditation. You meditate on Kala chakra mandala and do certain visualizations and certain like inner practices, which is like a inner yoga practice.
So you have made this drawing?
So I have made this drawing after I came back to Europe. Then that mandala was my meditation support for 6 years. It was my friend. It was a source of my knowing, in a rhetorical sense or relative sense, right? So I needed some kind of.
So how did you
copy.
construct this incredibly detailed, intricate drawing? It is immaculate.
The monks can do it. This is maybe when you should sometimes, if in the UK, if you have Tibetan monks coming to do any of the mandala rituals, it's really amazing. It's incredible. It's so beautiful how these mandalas are drawn from they use tubes where they put the like a sand, colorful sands, and make it with such a precision. Sometimes they wear masks over their mouths, so because you cannot breathe to the drawing, to the painting.
So what does this signify? This
It means many things. It's you might say it represents a concept of time. It has lots of metaphysical explanations about the universe and everything in simple terms. You can see there are there are 6 colors, 6 Buddha families in the Kala chakra. They are not so expressed here, the colors, because as I use the pencil, it does not come so shiny. So we are getting to the crux of the matter. So it was in 2002 I went to Bodh Gaya for the big Kala chakra initiation. That was the point, right? And they do these rituals in the temple every year, but His Holiness Dalai Lama gives the Kala chakra empowerment, which is of course supported by the monks' rituals, for say everybody, for huge numbers of people. His Holiness Dalai Lama, he gave the initiation first when he was about 14 or 15 in Lhasa, and they still were in Tibet. That time, maybe it was attended by some 100,000 people. Something, everybody came to Lhasa. It's given that way to say lay people. Maybe most are monks, but there are many lay people. They don't understand the teaching. They don't understand what. They understand, something about it. Not all even practice it, but they consider it's being considered a huge blessing, because the rituals, the mandala, wherever it's constructed, it's quite, it takes lots of resources actually to organize the event, and to it's surrounded by offerings, and the master, in this case is only Dalai Lama, should receive the offerings to give this huge initiation. Then it's supposed to bring a peace upon the region. So if they do it in America, they do it in Australia, not every year, but it has one of the titles. It's been Kala Chakra for peace. So if they do Kala Chakra somewhere, it's supposed to bring lots of blessings. So people simply flock there to receive the blessing. Now, I don't like crowds. So I really hesitated if to go to that Bodh Gaya, especially because I was in the meditation retreat in the Kala Chakra temple. So I could simply, my spiritual awareness said, maybe you should sit here. You don't have to go there. But everybody left, monks left, almost even the last mouse left from the Dharamsala. And it was winter, the snow came beginning of January. So at the last minute or something like that, once I got a ticket, got a bad ticket, and I go to Bodh Gaya. There were like 100,000 people in Bodh Gaya at that time. I found a refuge in the Burmese monastery. It was a good luck. So I could stay in their dormitory, because otherwise people staying in tents and everywhere simply. So I was safe in the dormitory, and third day, which was actually the day before the initiations should have started, at night I went to sleep and woke up, and there was different time and different conditions, and there was very huge.
A different reality?
You may say that. It was in the past. It was on Earth. It was in the past, and there was a huge extraterrestrial spaceship. Very, very strange. Very.
Now, is this what you've got here?
Yes, this is a picture that a friend did for me, as a friend from the US who knows how to do computer graphics. So it's not really detailed or something. We hope to do like a more detailed model.
So what's different to the actual craft?
So it was also, it's just.
How close is that representing what you saw?
It has the same shape. The color is fitting, I think. It was the spaceship was, thank you. The spaceship was really it was huge. It was dark. You could say dark gray.